Hello and welcome to this week's GG Weekend Watch, where we have a change of gear this week. We're mixing up between the flat and the jumps end this week on a bit of an odd sort of weekend, really. But I'm happily doing so in the company of Daryl Carter, the returning Daryl Carter, after his foiled Conservative leader bid campaign. Unfortunately for you then, Daryl, but we're happy to have you back all the same. I have no idea what we're talking about now unless you watched last week's video back. And of course, then with Andrew Mount as well, where we will be looking ahead to Newbury and Market Rasen, as well as the small matter of the Group 1 Irish Oaks from the Curragh as well. Andrew did very well by himself last week. He had winners in without a fight at 10 to 11, including the forecast in that race as well, might I add. Jimi Hendrix winning at 5 to 2. Daryl also took the time, though, to write up Jimi Hendrix in his column. Appreciate that, you're always on duty, Daryl. And Andrew also had Chindit winning at 85 to 40 as well. So very well done, Andrew, for carrying us through last week. Daryl, no pressure on your return here. And we will begin this week's action at Newbury with the 150, where thank God we have some runners at Newbury in this opening race for us. But less on that the better, which is the listed Steventon Stakes for 3-year-olds and over a mile too. Just the 5 runners still, though, to kick us off here, Daryl. But that's 5 more than we have later on the card anyway. So who wins it for you?
This has been a really strange market all week. They had Mr. Cutting as the odds-on favourite for this, and Cadillac was 4 to 1. And I was tempted to take the 4 to 1 about Cadillac, but I didn't. And now he's 11 to 8 favourite, and Mr. Cut's not here. Yeah, I think this is going to be, well, I think it's pretty straightforward for Cadillac. He ran well as far as I was concerned, being beaten by Dubai Future in the Wolfton Stakes at Royal Ascot. He was up with the pace the whole way. He's the class act of the field. He settles a penalty, but few have come here with a bit to prove. Desert Encounter obviously likes it here at Newbury, but he's been off 259 days. Tasman Bay looks slow as an old boat. Finer Town needs to bounce back from a disappointing effort at Epsom, where he probably didn't handle the track, but he's probably going to be the most likely horse to take on the favourite with. And Grocer Jack is a French recruit for William Haggis, been with him a couple of starts, but needs to show more to win in this company. So Cadillac,
perfect. So slightly gutted that you didn't get the 4 to 1 earlier on in the week, but still, if he wins, he wins. You won't be crying all the same. Andrew, this opener for you, please.
I can't tell you who's going to win, but I'll tell you who's going to finish second, and that's Desert Encounter.
Yeah.
Because he generally does, and he's 100 years old now, making his seasonal debut, but he does love Newbury. And you look at his record at this track: first, second. That was in this race 4 years ago. Third, beaten half a length. First and second. I thought he'd do his usual thing, come from an impossible position, and and arrive on the premises to finish second. Maybe that would be to Daryl's pick, Cadillac. I did think maybe Cadillac was flattered at Royal Ascot, given the pace and draw bias in that particular race. You had to be on the front end. It helped to be drawn low in the Wolferton Stakes. They went very steadily, and you look at the third and the fourth, who were always on the front end from low draws. They've both been beaten since. There's plenty of low-drawn, prominent horses in that race who've been stuffed subsequently. So I wasn't totally convinced about Cadillac, particularly at 6 to 4. So I'll probably just do the field to beat Desert Encounter into second. 4 straight forecasts or exactas. Tasman Bay was half interesting. He also ran in the Wolferton at Royal Ascot, finishing well beaten in 12th. But his best efforts are coming in smaller fields. He might be able to dominate. So, Tasman Bay perhaps is the pick if I was going to have one.
Cool. If I had to have a pick, this slow old boat, Tasman Bay, therefore, but taking on Desert Crown to hopefully.
He hasn't got much choice. Desert Encounter's only a couple of years younger than him.
Yeah. I know, and he's still not even siding with him. Yeah, Desert Encounter then, the 10-year-old to finish second, though, however you play this race for Andrew as he gets all exotic on us. Right, we move on. I know, watch yourself. We move on to the jumps now, which is very nice, actually, and a very random change of gear, of course, as we head to Market Rasen, though, where we start off with a 0 to 145 handicap hurdle for 4-year-olds and over 2 miles 7 at 2:06. So, Andrew, back to the jumps. Firstly with you, please.
Yeah, I was tempted to give a final chance to Giovanni Change, who is one I've written up and tipped on more than one occasion in my column. He's got to go right-handed. He was a big eye catcher at UHTRED a couple of years ago when he lost ground by jumping out to his right all the time and still finished close up. Now, he did run on this card last year. I'm guessing it was this race when he was the third one up in a lucky 15 after winners at 40 to 1 and 11 to 1. He went off at 11 to 8 favourite from something like 7 to 2 or 3 to 1. I thought, well, this is it. This is buying money. I'm not going to cash out. And then he's finished third of the 6. Since then, largely disappointing. But with Mark Walford being in better form now and his last run forgivable because it was left-handed at Doncaster, maybe Giovanni change 16 to 1 I could just side with. The more obvious one is Apache Creek. It's funny, they didn't give him a handicap mark after 3 runs because I think they were playing silly games with him. And so maybe they then got the hump on his handicap debut and thought, we're not going to try here either. And he finished well beaten at Newton Abbot. Since then, he's gone first, second by a head, 6th over 3 miles on soft ground at Foss, which he completely hated. A faller at Ascot, and then last time out, his first win over 3 miles or further, winning over 3-1 at Warwick at 14 to 1. So in terms of wins to runs ratio recently on sort of good to soft or quicker ground, it's fantastic for Apache Creek. Wasn't totally convinced by the Galileo Silver Jersey Wonder form line. They finished 1-2 at Foss last time, but the order of that race never changed throughout pretty much, apart from the third, who was the only one to make any ground from off the pace. That was the Pipe Horse. Its name escapes me. So I thought perhaps they were just flattered by being allowed to do their own thing. So I'll take on Galileo Silver Jersey Wonder. I hope they're not Daryl's naps. And go, I'll go Apache Creek, but I will have a little bit on Giovanni change. Just
Giovanni.
The return to this track revitalises him.
Yeah, like you say, as the outsider of the field, then it's 16 to 1. It's surely worth chancing Giovanni change there, even just for a little bit of change yourself. But Apache Creek then to take on those that are ahead of the market for Andrew here, Daryl. How do you play this?
Yeah, Giovanni change as well. £10 lower than third in this race last year, an 11 to 8 favourite. It's now 20 to 1 outsider, and he's got a £5 claimer on, and I think he'll get a soft lead. Loves Market Rasen. That was a handicap run on the flat last time, and he pulled up at Carlisle, was it, or somewhere? The time before Cartmel. Time before, I'd ignore that. That Cartmel race was quite a deep race. I think he's got a lot in his favour today. Looks like Roman de Sanam is return to hurdles, I think, for the first time since 2016. I was of the same opinion as Andrew. I didn't like that Galileo Silver and Jersey Wonder form at all. Patch Creek could have more offer, and Ars Paddington has been absolutely thriving at the moment. 3 wins. He's been beaten once here. But this is a little bit deeper. I mean, I say it's a little bit deeper. He did scout Broomfield Berg, who was clearly well below his best at the start of this month, but I just think that Giovanni change could just dictate matters on the front end here and be hard to catch. If you look at his last run at Market Rasen, he was beaten 6 lengths by Pound and Poet, but he was sort of swamped coming over the second last or last hurdle, and he sort of was shortened up for room, but he battled back quite strongly. That was quite an eye-catching performance, I thought, and he's handicapped to have a say, whereas a lot of these are probably not.
Yeah, so again, then in agreement with the outsider of the field, then for the lads with Giovanni change, really interesting take on that race. Then, like say, if he just appreciates a return to that track, then at Market Rasen, good start to our jumps. We've got the jumps going again now here, but we're back to Newbury now. But probably for just as slow horses, to be honest with you, in our next race. As we head to the 221, this is the Highclere Castle Gin Cup Stakes handicap for 3-year-olds and over 2 miles and half a furlong. Now, I like a horse for this race, and that is Going Gone, who ran a career best last time out to finish 4th in the Ascot Stakes at Royal Ascot behind Coltrane, where he ran a huge race at 50 to 1 to be beaten just over 2 lengths. He's very progressive, remains unexposed over these same trips with his pedigree. These trips are always likely to suit him. So off of a £2 higher mark than for last time out, hopefully he can prove that Royal Ascot was no fluke for him either. And I'm just looking to see where the betting is. I didn't have betting when I was looking at this beforehand. 3 to 1 favourite. There you go. Really nice and original start from Kate. Right, Daryl, you can take over.
Yeah, I agree. I thought that was decent form in the Ascot Stakes. Coltrane's obviously come out and bolted up by 10 lengths next time. You couldn't help but be impressed by the way he was quicker than inside the final furlong that day. I've had my eye on him since he ran at Epsom because I know he's won there before, but I wasn't overly convinced that Epsom was going to be the making of him, in all honesty. He sort of hangs a little bit down the camber. So I was kind of waiting for the opportunity to back him. I didn't at Royal Ascot. And then I thought, right, with that finishing effort, I'll get him next time. But he's right at the top of the market, and there's no secrets, is there? So
no.
3-1, yeah, go on.
Oh yeah, that's good then. That's all right. Yeah, I was looking at him then. I was waiting to see because I hadn't before we came on here. We hadn't got the prices up, and I've just pulled it up there. And 3-2 on Fab. Damn it. Well. At least Daryl and I are in agreement. Andrew, are you jumping on the bandwagon?
No, but
okay.
I completely after time. But I did have a little bit each way at Royal Ascot. A friend of mine tipped him up, and I was worried about the running style because I thought he would try and make the running at Ascot because his 3 wins have come in smallish fields from the front, but he didn't. He held him up, so it was quite impressive that despite resenting that, I think to a certain degree, he still managed. He's taken a keen grip, but he still managed to come through and finish in the frame. He was well drawn, admittedly. It wouldn't surprise me if he won here, but I can leave him alone at the prices. I was interested in a couple of others who ran in that race. Rohaan, who was 5th, who had won the Ascot Stakes the year before. He had a terrible draw in stall 19, did best of the high draws, and then, of course, ran 2nd in the Queen Alexandra Stakes a few days later. Rock Eagle as well was stuck out wide in that race for the Rafe Beckett yard, stable in much better form now as well than they were at Royal Ascot. Rock Eagle could also sort of uphold that form. Wouldn't be the worst combination TriCast in the world. And Withhold, of course, who has won this race previously, back in 2019, when it was actually worth 60 odd grand to the winner. That they cut the prize money after COVID, like most races got cut, to 25 grand. And then rather than restore it to its sort of previous glory of 60+ thousand pounds, it's lingering around half that price. He's visited for the first time, and I thought he'd go well for the Charlton Yard. The one I'm going to side with, I'm going to go for the King horse, Rainbow Dreamer, who's a horse I've often tipped up on the all-weather over the years. The key to him is a small field. He's won 11 times in his life. Every single win has come in a field of 9 or fewer runners. When I looked at this race first on Monday, I thought, well, there's going to be too many runners for him. So I was quite impressed by that 9th of 20 behind stablemate Trushan and the Northumberland Plate last time, given that he was stuck out wide as well. That was his first run after wind surgery. King's got some fairly useful stats with his 2nd run after wind up horses. I'll go Rainbow Dreamer, but he's one of sort of 4 or 5 you can make a solid case for. It's just the biggest price of them.
Yeah, I was going to say he is a fair price, though, isn't he? Available at that each way price as well. Then with the dead 8 runners in this race, but like I say, 2nd start after a wind operation, Rainbow Dreamer does look interesting, but strong case made for a few of those. We switch back to Market Rasen now for the 241. This is the summer handicap hurdle for 3-year-olds and over 2 miles and half a furlong, where Galata Bridge heads the betting, but it's understandably so a wide open race. So Andrew, your take on the summer hurdle, please.
Yeah, I don't like to talk about it, but I napped Stanific at 40-1 in this race last year. So I think that gives me a get out of jail free card for the next 10 years for the race.
Oh, but, completely.
But I couldn't really come down on the side of anything strongly. There didn't seem to be a huge amount of pace in the race, compared to last year, which is one of the reasons for backing Stanific. Did I tell you I backed Stanific last year? I don't like to talk about it.
Keep reiterating. We didn't quite catch it.
In that race, Ingleby Hollow was sort of regarded as being unlucky in 5th, beating a length and a half, finding trouble. But that's Ingleby Hollow. In big fields, he finds trouble. He's another one who generally wins in fields of sort of 7 or 8, or fewer runners. So you could sort of, I think he'll be widely tipped on the day. People will go, oh, he's lucky in the race last year. Albeit for a different yard, but I'm not so convinced he'll probably find trouble again. I'm afraid it's a pass from me. Dr. Richard Newland's got herpes, apparently. I heard you talking about that on William Mill Radio, Kate.
Don't put this defamation onto me now. Don't you defame me saying this.
What's going on?
There's an outbreak of equine herpes, apparently. I think there was a piece in the Racing Post, wasn't there, confirming this. So some of his horses are perhaps not running as you'd expect. So I was just a bit wary about anything from at a shortage price from the yard at the moment. I'm sure he's not going to run them if they're not, fully fit. But it's just a little bit of a lingering doubt. Herpes lingering.
It's the worst. So I've heard. Yeah, I didn't know if that was actually public knowledge or not. And then I sort of went back through, and I think there was a story about it a while back, but it was kind of pushed under the carpet a little bit, and he had no runners for a while until sort of getting the bloods back then in a positive order. So like you say, just be wary, but at the same time, at least we know if a good doctor, he's going to be the ultimate trainer where if something isn't 100% right with the bloods, they won't run then. So at least you can pretty much guarantee that if they do turn up, there's positive signs there anyway, but do just bear that in mind for now. Daryl, any stronger opinions? Andrew's got his free pass.
No, not now. You told me that. I did fancy Galata Bridge at the top of the market. That's interesting you say that, because he's been off 54 days as well. So yeah, interesting. I thought he ran an excellent time figure at Huntington. He won as he liked on the bridle. He's a 95 rate flat horse. He's got any amount of improvement to come. He's off a marker 120. And he's essentially, he's horses like this rated 95 on the flat going over the hurdles. They're not out of place in the winter months. So the fact that he wants good ground, he's running in the summer, just means he could rack off a sequence. But yeah, that slightly put me off a little bit, in all honesty.
To be fair, they had a winner at Stratford the other day, but that was in a race where it completely fell apart, where two had just set it up completely. It was an odd sort of race at Stratford for Newland Yard. And then they had two fallers in a row at Newton Abbot the other day, and they were still going well enough. Both of them, I think, were favourites, if I remember rightly as well. So the horses that they are running do seem to be running well and running to form. So I wouldn't take it, from what I've seen so far, I wouldn't take it as gospel, but it's just something to bear in mind.
Well, he's a 4-to-1 shot here. If he drifts markedly, I'd probably take note of that. And then if he's backed, I'd probably be willing to take a bit short of a price than what I probably normally would, just for the information that he's being backed. Because I think he could be really well handicapped. So
yeah. Like you say, just wait for market signals, and we know from this yard it's normally pretty telling in general anyway, isn't it? So yeah, just something to bear in mind. Just pay attention, probably more so than usual, to the market signals. And I was between two, Hurricane Alley and Ingleby Hollow. I'm just going to marginally favour Hurricane Alley though here, who has just been in flying form so far this season, winning 3 times already this year, foiled and bringing up the hat trick last time out at Cartmel when upped in grade into a Class 2 handicap hurdle. And that was a very competitive race, understandably so. He still ran a solid race, finishing third, posting an equal career best in the process, able to run here off of the same mark of 1, 2, 3 in a race that tends to favour those who are ridden that bit further back as well. So hopefully it'll all fall in his favour a bit better here. So I think there's still more to come from Hurricane Alley off this ideal mark of 1, 2, 3. Back to Newbury now for the Group 3 Hackwood Stakes for 3-year-olds and over 6 furlongs at 256. 14 declared runners here. Really competitive group race, Daryl. Who do you side with?
I'm siding with. Oh, I'm on mute now. I'm siding with Rohaan. I thought I just can't get away. I know it was only a hand. Well, it wasn't only a handicap. It was a Wokenham, for God's sake. But he's winning that off 109, carrying at 9:12. I know he's running against handicappers essentially, but the time of the race was only a fraction slower than the Diamond Jubilee. And just like the way this horse is making ground hand over fist at the finish, like he's striding twice as quick as any other horse in the race. He's definitely a group horse. He's back in group company today. I just really like him. I think there's so many issues with so many of these sprinters. Some want 5.5 furlongs, some are too slow out the gate, some want 5 furlongs. Like, they're mix and match all the time. I thought this was for all there's 14 runners, I didn't think it was that deep in terms of, I thought there was a lot of horses in here that want either to drop back and trip or slower ground or little bits and pieces like that. I can see, like, I backed Method last time. I can see why they're going back up the 6 furlongs with him after his fast finishing at Sandown. Diligent Harry goes okay here. Happy Romance goes well here. Won the super sprint on this card a couple of years ago. Dubawi Legend is interesting, dropping back from 7 to 6. But for me, I just think, providing he gets a pace to aim at, which I think he should, I think Rohaan will just win. I think he's improving still, hand over fist. So he recorded an RPO 119 last time. That's massive.
Yeah, isn't it? Completely. Like you say, to defy that weight was really quite something. Still available at 7-1. So people still trying to doubt him then to work up into being this Group 3 performer here, apparently. So that looks a very fair price. Good case made by Daryl for Rohaan. Andrew, who do you side with?
I'm with Happy Romance, and I have saved on Rohaan. Yeah, Happy Romance won this last year. Now, as a 3-year-old filly, she was getting all the allowances, but the official handicapper says she's improved £7 since then. Now, she was only beaten 2 lengths in the Platy Dupes at Royal Ascot, and although when she ran in the July Cup next time, you thought, yeah, she's not going to win a Group 1, is she, against the boys? This is more her level. She proved it last year. She loves quick ground. It's hopefully going to dry out nicely by the time of this race, however much water they put on the night before in the morning. And I thought she'd follow up. So Rohaan, one of those sort of hindsight bets, really, isn't it? I think the first time below Group 2 company in Britain since winning the Woking last year. He was £3 lower. Ryan Moore was on, I think, wasn't he? And
all the signs were there, weren't they?
Yeah, I had the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th in the combination trifecta, and I thought Rohaan at stall 19 might just be a little too close to the centre, but Ryan Moore came across, and that was it. So had a brief thrill, but that was it. So Rohaan, I fear, but I've bet Happy Romance at 5-1, saved on Rohaan at 7s.
Yeah, make sure you save on Rohaan then this time around. Yeah, Rohaan to a saver, but the main bet being Happy Romance to win this race then for the 2nd year running at 5-1. Still a very fair price for her as well. We are back to Market Rasen now, but for their seasonal highlight, which is the Grade 3 Summer Plate Handicap Chase for 4-year-olds and over 2 mile 5, comes up at 3:14. Mortlock heads the betting here, but I am taking him on with MAHLER'S Promise, who comes into this race on the back of a win last time out, came over this course and distance, which was a really convincing win as well, especially because he won over the reopposing Statuario. Coming into this race on the back of a win last time out is a positive as well. He's been fairly treated, I think, off of this £5 rise for that 2-length win. Further 15 lengths back to the 3rd as well. Slightly concerned, there's plenty of pace on in this race, so I don't want him to be too near the pace, but he just ticks so many boxes for me. I think he remains well treated here too, so it's MAHLER'S Promise for me, Andrew, but who do you like?
Another tricky one. Anything Peter Bowen runs, you've got to respect. He's got last year's winner, Frankie de Berlais, as well as the consistent but slightly frustrating Statuario. But I was looking at Licklighter up in grade for Laura Morgan. Got a good record at this time of year. Had 5 runs in June or July for his current yard, 3 wins, a 2nd and a 3rd. And she's got 2 in the race. But given how well her horses have been running as well, I think you napped the Vollen, one of theirs that won at Southwell the other day.
Oh, thanks for listening in, by the way, Andrew. I really appreciate the support. Thank you.
That's quite all right. I was thinking, Frankie de Berlais I could see, but at the price is 22-1. I think I've said Licklighter. Although he is up in grade and he is an 11-year-old, he's fairly sort of lightly raced under over fences, under rules, and hasn't had that many opportunities for this yard. And he did win by 14 lengths last time here at Market Rasen. That was over hurdles. I thought that was a good way of keeping the chase mark down for this race. I thought that was the plan.
Yeah, no flies on Laura Morgan, are there, whatsoever? Yeah, Licklighter, the outsider of the field, considering that win from last time out then at 20-1. So huge price and definitely worthy of a notable mention then from Andrew for Licklighter there. Daryl, who do you side with?
What price is Frankie de Berlais?
Frankie de Berlais is 7-1 here. Best price I can see, though, oh, wrong race, is 7-1, yeah, best price.
Yeah, I'd take a chance with him. I think he's going to be there or thereabouts. James Byron jumps back on board. It was a good step in the right direction. He's obviously been building up for this race for a repeat victory. I think it was £1 lower last year, so the weight's fine. You talked about last time, Jerry's back. Oh, God, Jerry's back. Jerry's back one, and I thought I just said that. But Jerry's back one, and Frankie de Berlais just looked like he was just in need of the run a little bit. He went over hurdles time before at Foss. I did completely ignore that run. But the time before you talked, so he won really well. I think he's just been building to a big performance. This has obviously been the target, the switch out for Sean for James. And I think there's not a lot of negatives with him. He goes well here. He's 1 for 3 at this course. But yeah, the biggest danger for me would be your MAHLER'S Promise.
Yes. Okay, I'll take the biggest danger, honestly, at this stage. I'll happily take that. But Frankie de Berlais, 7-1 there. Yep, top price, which is very fair. And like you say, you're not wanting to rule out the Bowens at this time of the year whatsoever. Looks very dangerous there, doesn't he, Francky de Berlais? Right, back to Newbury now for the 3:30. This is the Super Sprint Stakes for the 2-year-olds over the 5 furlongs. Always a fiercely competitive race. So, Daryl, solve it for us, please.
Well, the only way I was able to solve this race, well, I haven't solved it, but I just got like the whittling the field down really, because you just got so many unexposed runners. 3 of the last 10 winners come from Royal Ascot. 6 of the last 10 had 1 last time out. 3 were beaten at Royal Ascot, and 1 was beaten away from Royal Ascot. So last time out winner, really, unless they've been beaten at Royal Ascot, was kind of the angle I was looking for. I just was going through the form, and I just kept finding form between 77 and 85. And other than the likes of Miami Girl, obviously, and Maria Branwell. And I thought Maria Branwell was quite comfortably on top of Miami Girl at Royal Ascot. I think she's definitely got a victory in her, Maria Branwell, and she's now obviously £7 better off with Miami Girl. So I think she's the right favourite. I think she was 3-1 still about on Saturday. I think I'll take that. The other one I was just going to have a little bit of a cover bet on a bigger price was a horse called Not For Profit for David O'Mara. So another David O'Mara horse. Interestingly, Tom Marquand hangs about for this ride. He's got a ride in France at 7 o'clock. So he hangs on for this ride. He doesn't ride for his boss, William Haggis, in the next race. So he takes in this ride. I like this Not For Profit. He's got a really good attitude. He won well at Hamilton last time. He's done nothing in terms of time figures or form, but he just looks like a horse that's going to improve every time he goes to the track, and he gets his head down, and I like that. He's going to be prominent, and he's just going to battle, and I kind of like that in a horse. So while Maria Branwell will be your sexy horse trying to weave in and out of the field to pick up the leaders, I think Not For Profit will be up there, gutsy, battling all the way. So 20-1 for that one, 3-1 for Maria Branwell.
Yeah, I was going to say 20-1 Not For Profit. That's fascinating. How on earth did you notice that Tom Marquand isn't then riding for William Haggis?
I don't have a social life, or
how on earth did you pick up on that? Yeah, fair enough though, but it's fascinating, isn't it, why he's hanging around for Not For Profit there all the same. But like you say, the main bet though for you would be Maria Branwell all the same in the Super.
It might just be coincidence, and it might just be that he physically can't get to France if he doesn't, but
it might just be that the timing suit with the private jet to France or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
He's getting a lift off someone who's leaving after the 3:30.
Yeah, that's it. He's just got to hitch your lift, get something on the way, then pay for the fuel money and the jet to get over there. Exactly, that's it. But no, there's no such thing as a coincidence in this sport. I love a conspiracy theory, and I'm going to roll with that one now. Andrew, conspiracy theories or Super Sprint winners?
Yeah, I spent far too long looking at this race because I sort of delved into the stats, and I thought the most powerful stat was you've got to be called Richard. Because and if you're not called Richard, it helps to be called Rod. Richard Fahey and Richard Hannon have sort of dominated in recent years. 7 of the last 9 renewals between them. So I did have a good look at all their runners, and but Richard Hannon throws plenty of darts at the board in this race. He does tend to do better with his fillies, whereas with Richard Fahey, it's his colts that do the business. I did look at Dare to Hope, but then I don't rate that ripping form particularly, and it was over 6 furlongs. That's quite another strong stat for this race. Rule out horses who ran over 6 or 7 furlongs last time out, because they tend to be unsuited by the speed test, and they've not done very well at all recently. The other angle was the draw. Now, in the last 10 years, stalls 1 to 9, single figure stalls, and 0 from 90. You'd have expected getting on for 4 winners from that sample. And with sort of 20 plus runners normally, the race does tend to develop down the centre to the near side. So you're sort of like, your stalls 10 to 14, 10 to 15 tends to be the sort of the favourite area. Those were sort of a couple of angles. And also look at how many runs they've had previously. 1 or 2 runs is a disadvantage. 3 or more runs, drawn 10 or higher, ran over 5 furlongs last time out tends to be the way to go. So using those to break it down, still gives you quite a big shortlist, but it does put the favourite in there, Maria Branwell. I know she was well drawn in stall 16 at Royal Ascot. Dramatised the winner, came out of stall 17, but the form looks strong. I thought you might end up seeing her, Maria Branwell win, Miami Girl finishing second. All you're saying is these two horses who ran very good races in the Queen Mary, if they do it again, at the current price, 11 to 4, 8 to 1, you're going to get about 20 odd to 1 for the straight forecast. So I'll go Maria Branwell.
Oh,
cool. Bit boring, favourite in a 20 odd run the race, but
I would totally agree with that forecast as well, by the way.
Yeah, so 28 to 1 forecast then between those two to run similar races to what they did at Ascot. Happy days. Yeah, for Maria Branwell and Miami Girl then to be chucked back into that mix again. Yeah, for sure, the forecast. But the main selection then, single play for Maria Branwell for Andrew in the super sprint. Right, we sign off. Well, how we got to our last race already? Sign off with our only Group 1. It's the Irish Oaks at 3:45 for the 3-year-old fillies over a mile 4, where Emily Upjohn will be ridden by Frankie Dettori and is a hot favourite for the Irish Oaks. So, Andrew, how do you play this classic?
I thought Emily Upjohn would win, but I thought the value might be in betting without the favourite or the forecast. I wasn't convinced Magical Lagoon would finish second. She is, I mean, you look at the betting, it's at 16 to 1 bar 2. So she's, the betting says she's the only one with a sort of realistic chance of upsetting the favourite. You just think that maybe she's going to get racing a little bit too soon, get into a battle with Emily Upjohn, and perhaps end up being the second best horse in the race, but finishing third or worse. Now, you could also argue that she was a shade flattered at Royal Ascot last time. There was only 6 runners. It paid to be on the front end. I mean, Mystic Wells made the running, dropped out to finish last, but she tracked that one. Everything else was keen in behind. She got first run on the rest of them. Won by half a length. Not impossible that history off a stronger pace could reverse the form this time. That one finishing third in that race. And Caird Go Deo? Yeah, for Jay Lyons. It's a French name, not a Gaelic one, so I probably haven't murdered that as much as it sounds. But yeah, she's been nibbled at 25s into 18 to 1 today, and I was thinking, maybe she could be the each way without the favourite. So yeah, I thought the favourite would win, but I wasn't convinced that the second favourite would finish second.
Oh, okay then. Yeah, so like I say, so Emily Upjohn probably then to win. But if you had to back one, then the Caird Go Dio, whatever we're saying it at 16 to 1, was that about?
Yeah, 18 to 1 best.
18,
generally
16,
16,
yeah. Then her each way would be a good way to play that race. And behind the fab for Andrew, Daryl, any betting opportunities into this race for you?
Nope, Emily Upjohn wins.
Wonderful, nice, short and sweet. Then Emily Upjohn just to prove a class above the rest for both of the lads as they think. Right, Daryl, back to you then for anything from anywhere else.
507 Newmarket, Auditor, Cabinet of Clowns. I tipped Auditor last time when he won there. I just think I'm just going to side on the team of Cabinet of Clowns. This is a nice progressive horse. He's going the right way with every single run, so he's a nice horse. I thought Viola as well at Newmarket in the 3:22 would go well. I thought she would be slightly underestimated. I think she'll get a strong pace to aim at, and the stiff track should really suit her strong finishing effort. And Lord UHTRED is a really nice horse. I don't know what price he's going to be, but he's a really nice horse who looked a massive improver for his debut run. He runs in the 7 o'clock at Haydock.
Oh, okay then. Yeah, so three plays then. I think that was for Daryl there. So yeah, like I say, I haven't got the prices for those races, but do stay tuned for that then. Andrew, anything from anywhere else for you?
It's got to be Mr. Wagyu, our old mate.
Of course.
I wrote a betting masterclass piece for the Racing Post last Saturday, and he was the cornerstone of that, about horses that go well at a particular time of year. 28 runs in June or July. He's won half of them. Profit of almost £64 to £1 level stake. A lot of those wins coming in big field handicaps. So he's run a cracker in the Wokingham, albeit from a good draw, finishing 4th at 28 to 1 last time out. And I spoke to Sean Quinn, John Quinn's son, and the assistant trainer after that run, and they said the Stewards Cup's the aim, but there wasn't much else for him before then, so they thought they might go over to Ireland, and here they are. I think he's run about 6 to 1, still 10 of 17. I suppose it gives him options depending which side the pace is and which side he ends up going towards. But yeah, I'll go Mr. Wagyu each way. The 235 at the Curragh on Saturday.
Yeah, in the scurry handicap there, the 235 at the Curragh, 6 to 1 price then for Andrew's ultimate racehorse there, leading the fan club there for Mr. Wagyu for him. Right, Andrew, back to you, please, for your nap. Don't tell me that I've caught you by surprise with this.
No, I'm going for Stonific at Market Rasen. Oh, no, that was last year. Did I tell you? I've got to go, Mr. Wagyu. I love the horse, Mr. Wagyu at the Curragh.
Of course, of course. We'll make sure that we congratulate you on next week's last week's winners with Signific for a year and a week ago as well. Make sure that we continue to acknowledge that. Then until then, Daryl, your nap, please.
I don't really fancy anything strongly this week. I think the horse that should win is Cadillac under a penalty in the 150 at Newbury.
Cool. So if you had to go for a nap, it would be a tentative one, then Cadillac. And I will go, like I say, it's tricky to have a very strong opinion this week. So I was really sort of toying between a few horses then of which one the strongest opinion I guess was on, but I'd say I have to go for Going Gone in the 221 at Newbury then for me for the nap as well. So thank you to the lads for all of their hard work. Plenty of different races that we've covered today. Thank you so much to you for watching, and we'll speak to you again next week.